Hey everyone, it's Kadidja Yansane here from bloomintoyou.com. Happy Monday. Hope you're having an amazing day. Welcome to our How to Build a Thriving Community filled with your ideal clients. I am so passionate about this topic and I'm so glad that you're joining me. So I'm just going to start off with a few deep breaths so that we can transition. You can transition from whatever you were doing to this present now moment. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and you're going to take 3 nice deep breaths with me. And on the side, you are going to exhale as though you're exhaling through a straw. So inhaling now and exhale through a straw. Another inhale. Exhale through a straw. One last time, inhale. And exhale through a straw. And you're welcome to place one hand on your heart, your other hand either on your belly or on your thigh. And just noticing your hands on your own body, feeling your body grounding into this present moment. Noticing any sensations in your body. Noticing any sounds around you. And just taking a moment to give thanks for the abundance that's already in your life, that you have a business idea, that you have energy to start, grow, nurture, and cultivate a community, that you are bringing people together who are of like mind, like hearts, and choosing to serve them with your special gift. So giving thanks in advance for all the people that you are meant to serve, that you are meant to connect with, that you are meant to teach, who are meant to learn from you, and to, as a result, go back and impact their neck of the world. And smiling in your heart, with your third eye, with your whole body, that what a gift it is, this business of yours. And taking another deep breath here. And as I count down from 3 to 1, gently preparing to open your eyes. 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. Hello, viewer. Welcome. If you could type 1 in the comments if you can hear me, I would love to know. And we are going to dive in to our training, which is Build a Thriving Community filled with your ideal clients. One of my favorite topics. So I'm just going to share my slides with you. So if you are meeting me for the first time, my name is Kadidja Yansane. I am the founder of bloomintoyou.com. That's my website if you've never seen it before. I'm also the creator of the signature program, the Client Creation Queen, 8 weeks to get clients, get paid, and live your sacred calling. I have coached and consulted with dozens of Fortune 500 companies like Visa, Charles Schwab, Clorox, and Robert Half, and so many others. I've trained and worked directly, with top 7-figure leaders in the coaching industry like Mama Gina, who is the founder of Mama Gina School of Womanly Arts in New York City, and Nicole Deadone, who is the author of the book Slow Sex. And I did coaching and learned a lot about community building during my work with them. Some of the things I've done as a business coach is helped my clients get their first $10,000 month, get their first and next paying clients, which is always incredibly exciting. I have facilitated and led hundreds of workshops, events, programs, classes, both online and offline, in the areas of personal growth and business development. I'm also a mamapreneur. I have a daughter, Naima, who is 6 years old, and my son, 4. His name is Khalil, with my partner, Mike. So that's a little bit about me. And today I want to share with you how I built my community to 10,000 community members. And that includes, I'll be talking about all the various aspects that are my community, which includes my social media, this Facebook group, Instagram, LinkedIn, my email list. Welcome, viewers. Feel free to say hello in the chat. So I literally started by hosting in-person live events in my living room, in my small apartment. And, you know, it's so funny because the first time I was actually thinking I did it myself, but the actual first time I did it with the intention of starting my business is I did it with a friend. Hi, Kadidja. So glad to see you. Hi, Vu. Welcome. So the first, I wanted to start a group, and one of my coaching colleagues, she also wanted to start a group. But, you know, when you're starting out, you feel nervous, you feel scared to put yourself out there. So we said we were going to join forces and put on an event together. And I think that event was called Dinner and Desire. So we started a meetup together. So that way, you know, you always feel more secure and more empowered when you're doing something with someone. So I did my first event, or several events, with her. And then that kind of gave me my sea legs. And I said, okay, I'm going to do my own thing. And so all of those events were initially in my living room. The first event I had 3 people show up. You know, it was intimate, it was small, but it was incredibly impactful. And I wanted to say the number because sometimes people can get into this space of like, only 3 people showed up, you know, and so we'll be talking about that during the training. So I then hosted my next event, and I just kept going. And I also did classes on the phone. So teleconference call, super old school. And I still use my teleconference call line. It's the same teleconference call line I had back then. I meet with my clients on that line, but I did tons of classes on that free conference call line. And so more people started showing up little by little, and I just kept at it. There were times where only 1 or 2 people showed up at the event. And I actually remember a time where I was hosting an event, and I think it was supposed to start at 7:30, and, you know, 7:35, 7:40, no one was coming. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to sit here because I've already decided that I'm going to be hosting this event once a week. And sure enough, at 7:45, someone came, and I was like, oh, the doorbell rang, and she came in, and I thought she would be disappointed that she was the only one, but she was incredibly excited to be there and to have, you know, a private coaching session all to herself. And we ended up working together. I then started recording videos because at the time they didn't have Facebook Live. So I remember recording my first videos and was incredibly nerve-wracked. I actually would record several videos because I was like, I didn't like it. And then it turned out that the first video was always the best. And so then, you know, now I'm like a one-hit wonder now, like just go in because you just find that your energy is the best at the beginning. But I felt like I wanted to keep perfecting it. So that was before we had live video, where it was like sink or swim. Like either you're going to do it or you're going to not do it, but you can't rewind, you can't start again. So I committed to doing 1 video a week, and they were like 3 to 5 minutes long. And I would just pick a topic that was connected to getting clients, because that's what my audience really wanted to learn more about. And then more people started to join my email list and to follow me. And so now I have over 100 videos with over, probably more than this, 50,000 views on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And I started this Facebook group that we're in right now, Women Coaches in Bloom, because I used to lead a regular women's circle in Los Angeles, which is in Southern California. And I now live in Northern California in the San Francisco Bay Area. But when I moved after having my baby, I wanted to be connected with the women that were a part of that community. So I started this Facebook group. So it was a small, intimate group, and it has now grown to over, I don't know, maybe it's 1,300 people now. Again, same thing with my email list. I didn't, no one starts off with an email list. When I was leading those early groups, I did, for whatever reason, start a sign-in sheet. And maybe I had seen other people do it when I would go to events and when it had their name, their email, and their phone number. So I was having them fill out that sign-in sheet, but I didn't do anything with it. They were just in a file folder. I didn't know that you were supposed to do anything with it, but that's how I started my email list. And now I have thousands of people on my email list. Similarly to Instagram, I was late to the Instagram party and now I love it. But I guess at one point I logged in. You know how you can have a login to a social media site, but you don't actively use it. And so I went on there one time and I was like, oh, I have 23 people on Instagram. Maybe I should start to develop it. Now it's over 800. The point that I want to make here is that everybody starts somewhere, right? So you might be looking at other people and feeling like, wow, they have so many blog posts, they have so many videos, they have so many people in their Facebook group, or they have so many followers on Instagram, but everybody starts somewhere. And I have grown my community, one person at a time or several people at a time. And so it's just refreshing to remember that. So type 1 if you're following what I'm saying and if you connect with this. So why should you build a community in the first place? So the number one reason I think to start your own community is that it positions you as an expert. And hi, Miss Anya, nice to see you. And so I've said this before, but I think it bears saying again, is that, sometimes people have difficulty calling themselves an expert because it feels like, oh, I'm putting myself above someone. And that's absolutely not true. It just means that you have acquired a certain amount of professional experience or personal experience on that topic, and other people have not, because that's just not their interest. And so when you start a community, you are seen as the leader, because you are. It takes energy to gather people. It takes energy to put on, a live. It takes energy to put on an event. For those of you who have hosted events, I know Miss Anya hosts events. So anytime you do something like that, it positions you as a leader, as an expert. So it serves you to do that. And the thing is that if more often than not, like, especially I'm sure you're here because you want to get paid for your services, like, people aren't going to pay you that high ticket price if they don't see you as incredibly knowledgeable and as an expert in your field. So you want to position yourself as an expert, and building a community allows you to do that. Another thing is that when you have a community, it gathers people around your unique niche. So that's the topic that you are really passionate about. And so, if you're really interested in vegan cooking and you start a community on vegan cooking, then you don't have to worry that the people that are joining your group are not interested in veganism. So you're going to attract people who are interested in veganism. So when you start your community around your niche, whatever it is, whether it's herbs, whether it's yoga, whether it's mindfulness or meditation, you are going to attract people who are already looking for more information and more connection around that topic. Building your own community also creates that know, like, and trust factor. So someone might meet you and they like you, but they might not be quite ready to invest in your services. But by being in community with you and having regular contact with you and your content, then they build that trust with you. And I was just in a training this weekend, and there was a CPA, and she was incredible. It was the first time I was meeting her, and I really liked her. And I was just like, wow, I just the vibe I got from her. I was like, hey, I feel like I would trust her, with my finances, And so that's part of what you're doing when you build a community, is you're building that know, like, and trust factor with your audience. I said that. And so you're going to attract people who are interested in your topic. And then those who aren't, if like these people aren't interested in the keto diet, they're not going to join that. If people who are not interested in veganism, they are not going to join that, which is good, because now you know that you're curating a group that's specifically interested in your topic, and they're going to want more of it. It gives you a platform to offer your value. So I've said that, someone who's a coach, a teacher, a guide. So a healer needs patients. A teacher needs students. A musician or, an entertainer needs an audience. And so when you create a community, you now have an audience of people to share your teachings with, to share value, because as a heart-centered, soul-centered entrepreneur, the circle isn't complete if you aren't able to share what you do. So I'm not picking on Miss Anya, but I just caught her name. Like, she makes these incredible meditation bags. And so she could be making these amazing meditation bags, but it's not complete unless the other person's able to receive it, right? And so I know Kadidja is a hydrocolon therapist. Am I saying it right? She also does yoni steams, right? So people who are interested in hydrocolon therapy, I'm sorry if I'm not saying it right, or in yoni steams, people who want to know more, they're going to be like, oh, I should talk to her. I should make an appointment with her. It also gives you a pulse for what your clients want more of. So I'll tell you, I started helping people get clients because that's what my community was asking me for. One after the other, they're like, Kadidja, can you help me start my coaching business? Kadidja, can you help me get clients? And so your audience is going to tell you what they need. So I did a poll in this group asking the group, what should I talk about next? And so I think I listed crafting your high ticket offer, community building. I can't remember what the third one was at this particular moment, but this training was something that you guys said that you wanted. That's why I'm doing it. So you never have to feel like you alone have to figure this out by yourself, because your community is working with you to tell you what they want. So give me a 1 in the comments if you're following where I'm going. Finally, why build a community? Because it creates a pool of potential ideal clients who are more likely to work with you than just someone that they don't know. Awesome. I'm glad it resonates. So not everyone in your community is going to purchase what you have, which is fine, because there's different layers to your community, right? So you get the space to teach and share your value. Some people are going to get what they need from your free content. Some people are going to want more. And then that's the interaction. People get to connect and network with the people inside of the community that you create. So some of the closest friends and associates that I have met in communities that other people have started. So it's really, really, really powerful. I also want to go over some of the biggest mistakes coaches make, and I've made them too. I know them very intimately when building a community. So one is that it can be easy to forget that your community is a group of individuals. They're not faceless. And what I mean by this is that sometimes people are wanting to grow their audience. They're wanting to grow their email list. And it can feel like it's just this void on the other side. And it's not. Those are real people. And sometimes I share with my clients that it can help if you you've probably heard, like, if you have that avatar or if you have the name of someone in mind, and that is going to help you connect to your audience more deeply. So another mistake is not being consistent and committed in building your efforts. So, maybe you show up sometimes, and I know I've gone through this where you show up sometimes and then you stop showing up, and then because it's been so long that since you've shown up, now you feel weird about showing up, right? And so it's just making me think of like the relationship example. Let's say you really like someone and then they disappear. And then when they come back around, you're just like, there's a wall, and then you have to start all over again. And I think it's the same thing with growing your community. But the amazing thing is that you can always pick up and say, hey, it's a relationship. You can say, I've been going through stuff, or this is what I've been creating behind the scenes, and I'm looking forward to reconnecting with you. So it's really important that you're consistent, because when you show up, like you show that you are trustworthy and that your business isn't going anywhere, that your community isn't going anywhere, and it builds that trust in you and willingness to invest in you. Another mistake I see is that thinking that if only 1 or 2 people show up to your event, then feeling like you failed. And so I've talked to a lot of clients who, like, maybe they hosted something and they feel disappointed because, maybe they put forth a lot of effort and only 1 or 2 people came. And it's just like, I want you to be mindful of those words, and let me know in the comments if you've ever felt this way by typing 1. But even just the words, only 1 person came, only 2 people came, right? And so I have found in the past, when I look at, there's sometimes you don't want people to come. Sometimes you think you want people to come, but you're not quite ready, or you're afraid for people to come. So you don't really show up the way that you need to in order to have people respond the way that you would like. Sometimes in those early events, you're just building your confidence and gaining your own bearings. And so everything that you learn then can then be applied towards your next event. And then you also want to think that if 1 person came, and that means that there are other people like them. So that 1 person saw the value in what it is that you had to bring, and they showed up. I've had that experience where I was one of just a few people in the group, and how that felt like, oh, wow, that means I get them all to myself, and I get to ask more of my own questions, because there aren't tons of other people asking questions too. So really take people showing up to your lives, to your events, to signing up for your opt-in, to following you as a win, like that is proof. So it's like, again, if you look for the evidence that people are interested in what it is that you have to share and offer, you're going to find it. And if you look for evidence that they're not, then you're going to find it as well. Another mistake is not connecting with your audience in an intentional way. Like, you really want to think about, why are you starting this community? What value is it that you want to provide? And then, this is one of the tools I teach in my Client Creation Queen program, is that community building for business growth. And so if it's your intention to grow your business, if it's your intention to get more clients, then you want to be thoughtful with the building of your community and what content you create, that it's aligned with your niche, and that the next steps to work with you make sense. So there's a little bit of nuance here, right? So I've seen both sides of this. So one is, sometimes people are all about their business and they're not personal. And so what I mean by that is that you're only talking about your offerings, you're only talking about what you're doing, but maybe you don't share anything personal. And it doesn't have to be like super personal. Like, you don't have to show pictures that you don't want to show if you don't want to show pictures of your kids, but just kind of having that human connection. And so in terms of an online community, it could just be something as simple like, what's your favorite way to start the day? So it's like, I often put prompts here in the group just to get the conversation going. And so you want to have the mix of being business and personal, right? And then on the flip side, some people are all personal and don't show enough of their business. And so maybe they share all their insights and reflections that are happening in their life, their personal life, what their personal growth learnings are. Maybe they share their views on politics. Maybe they share their spiritual quotes or inspiration, but they're not really positioning themselves as an expert. So people don't see their content as connected to their business or something that people would pay them for. So again, I just want to stress here that when you're community building for business growth, right? Because it's one thing to build a community just because you want the community. There's another thing to build community with the intention of growing your business and your tribe. Yeah, so it's not wrong to, share the quotes. I share quotes. I love quotes. It's not wrong to share the things that are not connected to your business, but you definitely want to have a balance of the two. Another mistake is not positioning themselves as a leader or expert in a particular area. So when you look at your niche is the thing that you help people with. So it's the problem that you help solve. And so if you're not talking about the problem that you help solve, you won't be seen as an expert in that. So I'll just use myself as an example. So as a coach, I'm doing a training right now on community building for business growth. So that's something that my audience wants. They want to grow their audience. They want to grow their community. So you want to think about, what does your community want? And I want you to be addressing that. And so feel free to post any questions you have in the comments if you have any questions about what I'm going over. So it's critical that you position yourself as an expert. And the way to do that is to talk about the main things of your niche, addressing them over and over again. Another thing is not creating a path or opportunity for people to work with you and take the next step. And so I feel called to share this example of, I have a connection on Instagram, and I saw an Instagram post of a necklace, and it was really pretty. And I just, direct messaged her, and I was like, I really like that necklace. And so she messaged me back, and she told me what the necklace was made out of. And she was like, it would look really good on you. Would you like to buy it? And so I thought about it. I noticed the necklace. I wasn't necessarily going to buy it, but once she asked me if I wanted to buy it, I said I did, and I bought it. And so sometimes people are doing all of this work. They're showing their stuff and it's really beautifully photographed, but they're not saying, hey, if you'd like to purchase it, click the link here. If you'd like to get on a call with me or come to this workshop. So create a path. That's the next step for people to take with you. And then I would say that the final thing that I see is focusing more on leveraging other people's communities without ever building their own. So there's nothing wrong with leveraging the communities of other people. I think it's actually a smart thing to do, especially if your audience is smaller and you don't have that many people. It's actually a smart thing to do, to collaborate with someone else and be exposed to their audience. And musicians do this all the time. Like someone in the who's into country music, joins with someone who's R&B, and now the R&B singer is introduced to the country audience, and then the country singer is introduced to the R&B audience. So it's a smart thing to do, to leverage other people's communities. What I see happen sometimes is, because you kind of have to wait on someone else's calendar. So if you're creating your own community, you can decide that you're going to create an event this Friday. Whereas when you're working with someone else, you have to wait on their timeline. Like, what if they're not available to work with you until spring? And maybe they only want to talk about this conversation. So I think it's a good thing to leverage other people's communities, but it really also positions you, like, it's really confidence boosting to know that anytime you want to get clients or promote what you're doing, you have an audience to go to and share it with. So I'm going to talk about 2 types of communities that you can build. And I just want to say I've made all of these mistakes because sometimes you're looking at other people and you're like, oh my God, they have so many people. If I could just get in front of their audience. But the thing is that it's their audience and their people are all about them. And that doesn't mean that they wouldn't be interested in you as well. But the thing is that when you grow your audience, you know that they are coming to see you, which is incredible. So I'm just going to grab a quick sip of water here. Type 1 if you're with me. So we're going to talk about 2 types of communities to build: offline and online. So these are some offline examples. So an offline example, hi Dorothy, Allison, awesome. There's 2 types. As I said, offline and offline. So online and offline. So there's Meetup. And so I've had a Meetup for some time. You can go to meetup.com. I love Meetup because unlike social media, what I mean that the people on Meetup are looking for events to attend in person, and they really like getting together. And so I think a Meetup is a great offline platform to use. It's also online now. I mean, it was online before, but since the pandemic, they now have it set up where you can create online meetups. And so I think Meetup is a great way to meet new people outside of your circle who are interested in your topic and niche. You can create your offline community by hosting workshops. And so if you're wondering what the difference is between a Meetup and a workshop, you can promote your workshops on Meetup. So Meetup is a platform to promote your own events and also to be exposed to new people who are interested. But you can absolutely host a workshop without actually having a Meetup. So let me know if that makes sense. Speaking is a great way to grow your community offline. And so again, like whether it's a speaking event that you create yourself or you leverage someone else's audience, which means you just get to show up and share and have 20, 30, 50 people in the room that are new to you, that is an amazing thing to do. And being in person and someone feeling and seeing your energy is pretty high up there in terms of conversion. Doing classes. You might be wondering, well, what's the difference between a class and a workshop? I mean, I see a workshop as more experiential, where there's content that you teach, but participants have an opportunity to interact with each other, do some reflection work with themselves, and classes tend to be maybe you're just teaching information. So feel free to post any questions in the comments if you have any. And then, this doesn't get talked a lot about anymore, but teleconference, I know a lot. I speak to people sometimes who feel weary of being online or who are uncomfortable with Zoom or complain about Zoom fatigue, and teleconference still works. And so it's like you could be talking to people on the phone and not having to be on video if that's your preference, if audio connection is your thing. So the second type is online communities. And so by online communities, I mean like your email list and, any email list building strategies that you do. So it's like, you can use an email service like GetResponse or Constant Contact, MailChimp. And so that means you can be in email communication with your audience. There's also social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm not really using TikTok, so I can't talk a lot about that. But any social media platform, like a Facebook group, a LinkedIn group, your Instagram following, even your personal page, that is your community. And so you can begin to, curate what it is you want to share around your topic. Of course, there's online hosting platforms for events, like Eventbrite, I think I spelled that wrong, or Meetup, Facebook events. And so anytime you host an event, it's you gathering and bringing people together, and you're the leader of that event. I'll just want to say is that people often think people who host events, like there are people who say they've been wanting to do something, but maybe they can't find or muster the energy. But you having the energy to put together an event positions you as a leader because you're willing to take on responsibility. And not everyone wants the responsibility of gathering people and, creating an outline and saying, hey, I'm going to lead you through an experience. And then there's various website platforms, such as creating a website community. So maybe you have a blog on your community and that community of people reads your blog, or you have videos. And so you're creating a following around your topic. And then I would say video, so here right now I'm doing a video and people are making comments. People will come back and watch the video and make comments. And so it creates dialogue. Just even in the group today, I posted an interview I did a few weeks ago and someone commented on it today, and so they're engaging with it and that inspires someone else to engage with it. And then they engage with each other. So it's creating community, even if you don't know the other people in the room. Just the fact that you guys are interested in the topic of coaching and entrepreneurship is a connector. So raise your hand if you've seen any of my videos before this one. So video, you could do Facebook Live videos, you could do Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Vimeo. Those are all platforms to share your message and grow your community of people who want to hear about your topic. I have a client right now who does tarot card readings, and she's just a really wise soul. And so she does these incredible 1 to 2 minute videos where she tells people what's happening, planet wise or astrologically and what that means for them. Yes. Awesome, Kadidja. And so she's attracting people who want to use the tarot as a tool for growth and actualization. So let me know in the comments if you have any questions about, online, offline, and it doesn't have to be either or. I actually recommend a combination of both. So it's even when I was doing all of my events offline, I would share pictures online, right? Because what that does is people see the pictures and they're like, ooh, I want to attend the next one, or they get a feel for what it's like. And it's social proof that people are attending my events. And let's say someone who's never attended my offline events, they see that online, then it just gives them a sense of me, a sense of my community. So I recommend doing both. So awesome. And then finally, you can host a summit online. I have really I love interviewing people. And like I said, this is one way that you would leverage the audience of other people and be in front of their communities. And it can grow your email list tremendously. I've grown my email list by the thousands doing this strategy alone. And then you get all these people who join your community because the collaborators introduced you to their community. All right. So then you're like, okay, I've got a community. Some people already have a community. They're like, but I'm not making any money. I have a community. I'm showing up, but I'm not earning. Fill in the gaps for me. So the first thing is you want to start with clarity on what you're selling. Do you have actually something to sell? What are people paying for? That is really important because sometimes it's easy to just be building community and showing up, but you're not telling people the next step. So what can they purchase for you? What is your package that you're offering? What are the benefits of working with you and why would they pay? You really want to be able to answer that question for yourself so that it feels really compelling for the person to want to take action on it. You want to offer your community ways to go deeper with you. Oftentimes, you know, I actually had a client who had a thriving community. She would host events and people were attending her events. She just didn't know how she could get clients from it. And we started working together. And it's like she already had a community. And so sometimes I see this where people are nurturing a community and people are showing up. But if you're not telling them how they can take the next step with you, then they can't become your client. So a consultation, let your peeps know if consultations are something that you offer, that they can book a consultation to see if working together further would be a fit. So maybe you have a program that you feel like is a next step for them, that it's a 6-week program, a 4-week program, a 6-month program. Maybe you have products, we're at the holiday season right now. Do you have jewelry? Do you have lotions, potions, any kind of goodies? Like, let them know, are you looking to purchase something for your loved one for the holidays? This is on sale. This would be a great idea. Message me if you need some ideas on, if you have some ideas, if you need some ideas on what to get your loved ones from the holiday. So let me know in the comments if you actually already have an offer. So like a consultation, a program, or a product. So you don't have to do this alone. I really recommend talking to your community, surveying your community to find out what is it that they need. And so when you conduct surveys, you're going to get so much information. Even when you have consultations and discovery calls with potential clients, even if they don't sign up, you're going to get so much information, become more in tune with the voice of your ideal client. What is it that they need and what they're looking for? And so that's going to actually help you create your next offers, right? So I've done surveys here in the community where I'll ask questions like, what would be, most helpful for you? Is it private coaching? Is it a group program? Is it a mastermind? So you can be very specific. So if you have some things that you would like to offer your community, you could list it out and let your community vote on what they like. Yeah, this is important, that you don't want to assume that you already know. Like sometimes it's easy to think like, oh, I know what they need. And you don't always. And even if you do, even if you might be right and intuitive, it's definitely worth checking in with your audience to see what they like. And you don't want to just do this once. You want to do this on a regular basis. And then you want to build content, products, and services around this. So like I said earlier, I'm doing this specific training because this was one of the ones the people here in the group voted on, that they're like, wow, I really want to grow my community. So I didn't do this alone. I mean, yes, community building has been a pivotal part of my growth, but my community has also said that this is something that they'd really love to know more about. So let me know who would like help building a community filled with their ideal clients. If that's you, type 1 in the comments. Dorothy says that she's working on building a new community in Facebook Live for 2021. Dorothy, did you mean a Facebook group, or did you mean doing Facebook Lives like I'm doing right now? Let me know in the comments what you meant. And do you already have a community, or are you starting a new community from scratch, or are you kind of shifting from what you're already doing? Kadira says yes to all of the above. Awesome. So you already typed yes. So you don't have to type community if you'd like help. So this is how we can help you. You're invited to book a Client Creation Queen call with me or a member of my team to discuss your personal business goals and challenges around building community and getting paying clients. So you can do that. It's a free Client Creation Queen call by going to bloomintoyou.com/now. And so what you can expect on this call is to have a breakthrough or an insight, an aha moment, or an opening in some area of your business. And so on this call, we're going to dig into your unique challenges that might be getting in the way of you growing your coaching, consulting, or community right now, and exploring where you're feeling stuck. You're going to walk away with a plan of action or next step that you can begin implementing right away. So I'm going to give you a concrete step or two that you can start implementing right away so you can gain some traction before the end of the year, if that's what you desire. And so the link to book the call is in the comments. And so if it feels right for you to continue working together with me, then we'll share a way for you to do that. If you're exploring, like we're entering into 2021 and you feel like you're needing more support, that's part soul, that's part strategy, we can explore what that would look like. And so you can schedule your call at bloomintoyou.com/now, and you can find the link in the comments. And so I'd love to open the floor up for questions. If you have any, what questions do you have around whether it's creating clients, whether it's growing your community? I would love to hear. I post a lot in my community, but nobody responds. How do I get people to respond back and engage? This is a great question. I have had this myself. So I guess the first thing that I want to say is that just because someone or people don't respond doesn't mean that they're not reading your posts and not going to take action. So I'm leading this training today. And so one of the things that I did was to post outside of this Facebook group that I was hosting a training. And so if you go to my personal page, I don't think I have any comments on that post. However, people took action and joined the group. So I got new members today from doing that. And so the first thing I want to say is that sometimes I understand what it's like to feel like you're talking to yourself. You're like, is anyone paying attention? Is anyone listening? And so the first thing I would say is that you have to be excited to show up and share, and that you as the leader have to share first. Oftentimes people are like, well, no one's saying anything. So you have to set the tone and you have to be excited to be there. So that's number one. So you start and you share first. And so sometimes you might see in this group that I might post a question and I might be the first person to comment on it. And so something happens when there's already a comment than other people. And the second thing I want to say, maybe this is the third thing, is that make it really easy for people to respond. So if you ask really thoughtful questions or open-ended questions that people have to really think about, they might get stuck in perfectionism, versus if you have a yes or no, or if you request an emoji, or if you do a poll where they can select an option. I've created a 6-month program that connects women with their source so that they can be more creative and fulfilled. Awesome. It sounds like a great program. How much content should you have built up before inviting people to your Facebook group? Yeah, it could just be like, 10 or 15 posts. You just want people to have something to scroll through. So if you only have one thing, that really isn't a lot. So I would probably, gather, do 10 to 20 posts, and it could be different types of posts. They all don't have to be yours. So it could be a mix of written content. It could be video content. It could be behind the scenes. It could be inspiration. So I would aim to have, maybe 10 to 20 posts. And then, of course, as you start inviting people, keep adding. And so I'm not sure if you already have content, but if you already have content that you have in other places, you can absolutely repurpose that stuff and use this in your new group. So let me know if that makes sense and if you have any other questions. You have an inactive group. Okay, awesome. So you have an inactive group. Are you wanting to leave the group and start a new one? Because I do believe unless that you can reactivate a group. This group has had moments where it has been inactive and part of it was I was being inactive. And so you can also change the direction of your group. So let's say you were talking about one topic and now you're over that and you're ready to talk about something new. You could just say, hey group, I'm so excited about what's coming. You know, I'm really excited to change the direction of the group. We're now going to be talking about XYZ, you know, and I know some of you started with this other thing. And so I understand if you no longer want to participate, but you could just tell them that you're going in this direction and that you hope that they stay. So that's what you could do. But again, remember, Dorothy, that the more love you pour on your group, the more love you're going to get back. I'm inviting people to my group and list, but they're not joining. How do I get them to join? So I guess I would want to know how you're inviting them. Like, what are you saying? Saying join my group is not as compelling as, hey, join me today for this training on how to grow a thriving, you know, community and get clients from it. So I would want to know what you're saying. So that's number one. And so you always want to give people a reason to join your email list that they want, a reason to join your community that they want. And I'm happy to, you know, if you book a Client Creation Queen call, we can talk more about that. But I would be really clear about what you're asking them to join. Are there other online hosting platforms other than Eventbrite or Meetup? Yes. Well, I want to know what is it that you're hosting. So we talked about Eventbrite. Like you can share your event in multiple places. So you want to share your events everywhere on social media, on your email list if you have one. So when I say everywhere on social media, that's Facebook, Facebook group, business page, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, all the places where you are. And then there are some other sites that are similar to Eventbrite. I don't know the names off the top of my head, but you could probably do a Google search on that. But that right there is, you know, just Facebook alone there's so many options in terms of sharing what you do. So I hope that helps. Thank you so much, everyone, for your great questions. Thank you for joining. And if you'd like to schedule your Client Creation Queen call with me in the month of December to map out your plan for what your next steps are now and in 2021, I'd be happy, me or a member of my team, to have a conversation with you and to explore your options. Last question, Dorothy, I have a community that's not engaging and I'm working on a new Facebook Live for that group. And I'm looking to grow my emails. I want to create a program and call to action to join a membership by the end of 2021. Awesome. Yes, it's a great idea to re-engage your group. And it could be really helpful to create an announcement about the new direction that you are going in. And I'd be happy to, you know, get on the phone with you and have a call and talk about how you can re-engage your group. Thank you so much for the question. Awesome, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. Feel free to reach out if you have any other questions, and stay tuned for our next training next Monday. All right.